Hi folks, hope you're doing well. Just had a walk with dogs. Tried to do a video then, but it's too windy, far too windy. And one of the most important points that came up right at the end of the video. So it's like, right, that's about the only thing worth bothering with. So it's like, let's focus on that then. Focus on those points. And that point was looking at the fact of Christian ministry, looking at the fact that people tend to sort of wander into ministry. Yeah. And just sort of have that sort of attitude towards it. Yeah? Oh, I'm involved in the healing ministry. I'm involved in the prayer ministry. I'm involved in the worship ministry. Because before I got to that point, I was looking at the fact of saying, look at your church. Just look at your church. Is anything you do really about saying to God, this is for you? This is the utterly best we can do for you. If not, then that's just not good enough. I would actually go more to the point of saying that the church and Christians have been incredibly disrespectful to God. Incredibly disrespectful to God. With the offerings that they've given. Whether it be the worship offering, the prayer offering, whether it be the ministry offering, the monetary offering, whatever the offering may be, the time offering. Whatever it may be. It's incredibly disrespectful. Put it this way. You've got two to compare with, Cain and Abel. Now, Abel produced a beautiful offering. 1 second. Bloody dog's upstairs again. Abel put in the effort. Yeah, he did everything he could do to make sure that this offering was going to be a beautiful offering for God. Cain just said, there you go. So look at it from the point of view of your ministry. Are you a Cain or are you an Abel? Look at another way to compare it. Look at the worship in your church. Does that compare with professional musicians? With the quality? We're not talking about the best musicians in the world, but just generally speaking, professional musicians. Ones that have been, put the work in, that know their instrument, that know how to play as part of a band, know how to do that. Does it compare? If not, then you have to say, why the heck not? They're doing what they're doing for money. You're supposed to be doing this in honor and respect and love of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Shouldn't what you do be so much better than what they do? Shouldn't it? That's good. Sorry for the interruption. Just got a delivery. It's the thing for the phone to make sure that the mic works. And it works. Hey! So now when I do videos at night, the sound quality should be so much better. You won't be hearing footsteps. It means that the phone can be nice and low to get good images of the dogs while it's recording voice, because the mic's right up to the face rather than right down at the feet. So, Christy! That's good. That should improve things by quite a bit. So what I mean about putting the effort in. Yeah, I've tried different things. I've tried different mics to fix the problem. And it's like, not working. So I tried another thing. Ordered another mic online to see if that could better it, and it will be slightly better. Covie's chewing an old sole of a shoe. Her name isn't Chewie, but she seems to think it is. Anyway, so yeah, that's good. Okay, so I was talking about ministry. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, I'll ask you a question. If you are working and your employer told you that, for example, if you go to uni, you do a 3-year course. You can do it part-time, evenings, but a 3-year course. You need to put a lot of work in. You need to study well. You need to do the tests and stuff like that. But after that, you'll have a far better career. Would you do that? Seriously, would you do that? Or would you have done that when you were younger? And yet working for God? Are you willing to put the hours in studying? If your ministry is prayer, if your ministry is healing, if your ministry is worship, if your ministry is whatever your ministry may be, are you willing to put the hours in for God? Learning that ministry from Him. Not going to Bible college, not doing things the way accepted by the church, but by spending time with God and learning from God. Are you willing to spend the hours to do that? Are you willing to spend 4 years of your life doing it? Knowing it might work, it might not. Because that's the thing. You go to uni, you spend all that time, you might not get a promotion. Somebody else might get it while you're at uni. The jobs market might collapse. We might have a COVID virus that completely destroys jobs. So you could go to uni for 4 years, do all that study and get nothing. Would you do that for God? You do it for you, do it for your family. Would you do it for God? Would you do it for all those who aren't saved? Good question, really. These sort of questions are questions that should have been asked by the church. These sort of questions are questions that should have been asked by every single Christian. Are you willing to put the effort in for God? Are you willing to do that? Well, for example, I have collies. You see that by the pictures here. You see it by the videos that I do when I walk the dogs. You see I have collies. You see they're well trained. That's because I was willing to put the work in. You see, other people have collies who are not well trained. They, generally speaking, don't come when they're called. They can't walk them off lead. Why? Because they've not trained them. They've not spent the time. You want anything to work and to work well, to make life better? In your ministry, if you're struggling at your ministry, it's probably because you didn't spend time at it. That's why it's struggling. That's why it's not really flourishing. It's because you've not put the work in. You've not put the effort in. It's like you going for a job as an engineer in a very, very complicated field and then having no training beforehand. Are you going to struggle? Yeah. Should you be given the sack? Yeah. Same as a Christian. Should you be given the sack by God if you go into a ministry with an lackadaisical Cain sort of attitude? Yeah. I mean, if you think you can have a worldly job and a ministry, whatever that ministry is, you're massively mistaken. That's what I say. We need to start again. We need to start afresh. We need to say, right, okay, all the things we've been doing, let's stop doing it now. Let's stop doing that. Let's work out what we should be doing. Let's work out with God. How should we be doing this? You've got people that want a ministry, yet they want to be able to work full time because of the fact it brings in money. It means they can buy a nice new car. It means they can have holidays. It means they can save up for a house, etc., etc., etc. Right? And that's okay. If that's what you want to focus on, then focus on that. Forget about ministry. Just forget about ministry. Forget about calling yourself a Christian. Your focus is completely in the world, on worldly things. You want that? Go for that. That's fine. Yeah, that sounds a bit insane, doesn't it? Because it's like, excuse me, how are we going to get that if we don't work for it? What about trusting God? Oh, trusting God for that stuff? Really? But that's why, as I said before, with your faith, you build it from a mustard seed to something far bigger. It's like in ministry. If you're in the healing ministry, you're never going to pray for someone to be brought back from the dead if you're not going to spend time with the cuts and bruises that people have and praying over those things. Yeah, build up your faith so that when you come across something that is massive, like bringing someone back from the dead, or like trusting in God to provide you with money, to provide you with a home. Yeah, that's big, huge. But that's where faith has to be tested. Faith has to be pushed. You have to push it. You have to make it grow. So that when the big things are there, your faith can handle that. We've got to stop mucking around with Christianity. We've got to stop treating it as if it's a weekend thing. If it's just a weekend thing, then you're a churchgoer. You're not a Christian. And if you're a churchgoer, then stop calling yourself a Christian. Stop going to church. Find some community centre you can be involved in. That's going to serve you far better than a church ever will. Yeah, of course. Of course it is. A community centre is really what you're looking for. That's what you're at church for. To have something like a community centre sort of atmosphere. Yeah? Where you can have your music from the past and you can sit and gossip with people. And if you want to do that, then but do that. You won't have the opportunity in the future, not if God has anything to do with it, of doing that in church, because you'll be told, leave. This is not what this is about anymore. It has been what it's about, and as I say, it's shameful that people have used his church, his body, for that purpose. That the ministers have turned a blind eye to that, because they were more bothered than bums in seats than the souls of the individuals. So look at the offerings that have been offered to God. It's incredibly disrespectful. How anyone could look at any of that and think, that's good enough. That's okay. How you could be involved in a worship team and then listen to a worldly song and not cry your eyes out at being completely and utterly ashamed that what you produce isn't anywhere near as good as that. We're not talking about the polished, because you do get polished. You can't really try and compete with the polished, but any live performance, you should be better than them. You should be better. You should be practicing more than they do. But I guarantee you don't practice anywhere near as much as they do. And that's wrong. It's just wrong. If there are things that you'll be willing to do for money, for your position, for your family, that you're not willing to do for God, then again, that's incredibly disrespectful. This is why we need a God that's going to come in and it's going to teach people consequences again. Because we've forgotten. We've forgotten there are consequences. Yeah, there are consequences to how we do church and how we've been doing church. There are definitely consequences to that. To us, to the people in our communities, to the generations going forward. There are consequences to them. And that's on us. But we need to have a fear of God come back because we don't have it. In the church, we don't have it. We don't have a fear of God anymore. There's a ridiculously stupid belief that once saved, always saved, without even an understanding of what it means to be saved. I mean, talk about the idiots leading the blind. I mean, you have to be completely moronic to be teaching that sort of crap. But as I said yesterday, the problem is you've got the devil in the leadership of the church. You can see that's the attitude. See the Cain attitude to the offerings. Yeah, that is clearly the case, and we've got to kick the devil out of the church. We've got to get serious about it. We've got to understand why we're here, what we're here to do, and how we're going to do that. Get on your knees and ask God to forgive you. Unless you're one of these 3+ million people who've got to pay for their own sins, then pay for your own sins, then get on your knees and ask God to forgive you. Reality is, folks, it's not good enough. It's not been good enough for a long, long time. What has been offered is disgusting, really. And basically, people's efforts has been like seeing that the church is a bit of a turd, so they polish it up and think it's better offering. It's still a turd. You just polished it up a bit. And you think that's a good enough offering because you made it look a bit cleaner. You put a few sparkles on it. You think that's a good offering to God. A pile of shit. There you go, God. And you think God's going to be delighted with it. Yeah. He's not though, is he, really? That's the reality. God's looking at that and saying, this is the best you have to offer. I'm just going to sit up here and I'm going to let you face the consequences of what you're doing. Yeah. You're going to have none of me. Some places have a little bit of God. But as I said yesterday, we're in a situation where we have so much available to us Our Christian walk should be, could be, hopefully will be, far greater than anything that's ever been seen upon this earth. Even the walk and the ministry of the Lord should be nothing compared to what we have now. Nothing at all. Because we have the same authority he had. The same authority. He gave that to us. Yet we have a lot of things that he didn't have. So there are no excuses, folks. There really are not. We keep making excuses. Things only fail when you fail to prepare and you fail to put the work in. That's the reality. You deserve to be sacked for that. Do you deserve to lose your salvation? No. No, not if you're repenting. But you've got to be repenting of that. You've committed sin. And let the church go to where it is you've committed sin. Therefore, you have to repent of that. That's the reality. So there you go. You take care. God bless. I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.